So first we're going to be looking at an interactive break-even chart. And so we have three variables. We have our fixed costs, which is represented by the yellow horizontal line, and that line is horizontal, which means it's constant because fixed costs are constant. They do not change even though the sales fluctuate. And then we have total costs, which is represented by the blue line here, and total costs are made up of fixed costs and variable costs. And then we have total revenue, which is represented in red. And total revenue is revenue made up of the items sold, and the slope of this line will be determined by the price. And then revenue starts at 0, and this is because the company will not make any money when they have not sold a product. And so then we will kind of look at the fixed costs. So as the fixed cost variable increases or decreases, the total costs will stay proportionate to it, as we can see, and this is because fixed costs again are integrated in total costs. And so then on price, as price increases and we lower the fixed cost, the more profit the company will make, which is represented here in this area, and the less loss the company will make, which is represented in this area. And this is because a higher cost will this is because lower costs and higher prices creates a larger amount of revenue for the company. But if we have high costs and we have a low price, we could see that there is much loss for the company and there is no profit, as the total revenue line has not met the total costs line, and thus the break-even output is much higher. So we'll move these back. And so again, now this is our variable costs, and variable costs are integrated in total costs, which is here. And so the lower the cost per unit is, again, the lower the break-even output is. And again, it's because the variable costs are integrated with fixed costs. And so as we can see, the lower the variable cost is, the lower the loss for the company is as well. And if we increase the variable costs, the less profit the company will have compared to their loss. So all three variables are very integrated with each other, and all three variables affect the other two variables as well. Oh, hurry, I need the pictures, hurry. And I need my earphones back, okay? Starting. So this graph is a cost and revenue chart. And so what we're able to move here is the total revenue, and total revenue, again, starting. So this is a cost and revenue chart here, and what we're going to be looking at is total revenue. And so as price increases, as we increase this price, the level of output will fall, and here's the level of output here. And as you can see, if we increase the total revenue, the level of output will fall. And so as price falls, the total revenue curve will shift downwards and to the right. And so that is total revenue there. And this is another cost and revenue chart, but here we can move total costs. And total costs are fixed variables plus variable costs. And so as we move, as total costs increase, our level of profit will be much smaller compared to the loss here in this area, and the level of output will rise. Where if we drop the total costs, our profit will be much higher and our loss will be much smaller. Again, the level of output is going to fall now. And this is because if the costs are much lower, that means that the price does not have to be as high in order for the firm to make a profit, and thus the level of the break-even level of output will be much easier to achieve in a shorter period of time. This is looking at the fixed costs now, changes in the fixed costs. So again, fixed costs are part of total costs. And so as fixed costs rise, the total costs will also increase, as we see here. And as fixed costs increase, profit will be much smaller compared to the loss. And this is because when variable costs increase, the break-even level of output will rise. Again, as fixed costs increase, also the level of output will rise in the same way. And thus, if the fixed cost decreases, our profit will be much higher than our loss. Our level of output will also be much lower. Starting. So now we'll be looking at a diagram of margin of safety, and so here we can move our total cost around, and as we increase the total cost, the margin of safety will become shorter or smaller here, and so this is the break-even quantity, then this is the actual output the company produces. And so a company wants to have the closest margin of safety or the smallest margin of safety possible. As we can see in this chart, this is what is preferred. Now if we lower our total costs, we have a much larger margin of safety. And so here the company produced a much higher quantity than what their break-even quantity was.